Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Overcomer. So I'm kind of a little bit excited about this. This is a faith-based film by Affirm Films. They do a lot of these. I mean, the small skinny of it is a basketball coach volunteers to coach a double-team long-distance running team. That's all it says. There's a longer one on IMDb, but I'm not even reading it. 6.5 right now on IMDb. And it stars Kendrick. So Kendrick, if you're a fan of these types of films, you obviously know who he is. He's in Courageous, among other things. But if you're not, and maybe this is the first time, for those of you who are on Facebook or on YouTube, there's a scene from the movie Facing the Giants where this kid is carrying this other kid on his back. And he's blindfolded, and it's about mind over matter, and it's the whole scene. So if you've seen it, and it's where the guy says, give me 10 yards, and he ends up doing the whole football field. That's him. He's the coach in that movie. He's going to be the coach in this movie. I got chills just thinking about it. If you haven't seen that, Google the scene from Facing the Giants. It's motivational. So if you're checking out this movie, maybe that's what you're looking for, because usually that's what these films are. Now, it's an hour and 59 minutes long. I'll get into it, find out a little bit more without reading IMDb, and give you a true synopsis of what this movie is really about, and then ultimately what I think. So, stick around. I'm excited. You came this far, so you might as well hear me out. So I'll be back. Hey everybody, let's do a quick check-in here. We're watching Overcomer. We're at the 58-minute, 5-second mark, so not even halfway through yet, but close. Anyway, so I want to catch you up on what the plot is, because I have a much better idea. It starts out as our coach. That's what I was telling you, the guy who's in all the movies. He is the basketball coach, and they're very successful, and they're going to return all their starters and everything like that. And then what happens is the town factory closes, so all the parents leave, and taking all the kids with them. So the members of the school start to dwindle. The students, there's not that many. Of course, the basketball team is probably not going to be there because all the kids went somewhere else. So he's asked to coach cross country, as we know. So he goes to coach cross country, not very excited about it, but he's getting into it, whatever. Come to find out, there's only one person who wants to run cross country, Hannah. Okay? So, and, in the beginning they show her as, she might steal some things, and that's why she runs. So she's really good at running. They haven't elaborated too much on that right now, but that's right in the beginning, no spoiler alert. But she ran at her last school, and she wants to run at this school. She has asthma. So this coach has gone from coaching basketball to now a cross-country team with only one person who has asthma. So a little bit of a challenge for him. And impacting him and how he thinks about things. But anyway, so all that's developing, and I think that's a pretty good plot in its own. But now they have just recently turned in a slight twist. He is also, very active in his church. I don't know if he's a minister or something like that. And he goes on visitations to the hospital, and he bumps into this guy who has lost his sight. He has diabetes. Not much that time to live. He used to be a runner. They start conversation. He starts visiting him on a regular basis. Meanwhile, his cross-country runner, had some parent-type issues that, she believes that her parents have passed away. And so they come to the realization, it's only halfway through the movie, so I'm not really spoiling it for you because there's a whole other hour to go. But they come to the realization that the man in the hospital is her father. And of course, they do a much better job of building this all up. And the reason I stopped it right here, so it's kind of morphed a little bit now from just a basketball coach coaching cross country and dealing with those challenges to now, interacting with a girl and her parents kind of thing, and they've come to this crossroads. And this is why I stopped it, was he was thinking, and the grandmother has told her all this, that her parents are dead, and that, she lives with them because she's not happy. And I don't want to get into all the details, you have to learn that on your own. But of course, the grandmother does not want her to know that she has a father, for her own reasons. And now our head coach here has the dilemma of, does he tell either one of these two, the father or the daughter, that they both exist, and start to get them together. In order to do so, he's going to have to go around the grandmother, of course, or does he just let it go on? So it's an interesting piece, because I would think, like, how could you meddle in somebody else's life? Like, her grandmother is her guardian, and she's supposed to decide what's best. And for somebody, not so much a stranger, but somebody, outside the realm of their family, to make a decision and say, hey, this is your dad, hey, this is your daughter. I don't know. Interesting there. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but you can see it building. And I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, but I think it's interesting. So I wanted to throw that out there. And I was going to say, you think about, there's some references to prayer and things like that, but for those of you who don't like the over the top, it's not over the top. Obviously, he is involved in the church. He is a Christian, and it is a theme. But that's where we are. And I'll get back to it here and see where it goes from there. There's a lot more details involved, and I won't give you the whole thing, but you got a good idea of what the story has built to. Not just cross country, but also long lost parents and long lost children kind of thing. So, alright, that's enough. I think you know what it's about. I'll get into it a little bit more. If anything else interesting happens like that piece, I will check back in. If not, I'll see you at the credits and give you my final thoughts. So, stick around. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Overcomer, and I have to say it actually was really good. You see a lot of these movies, and it's, if you're used to them, it's pretty good. So I will mention, and this is not an issue for me, but I like to let everybody else know, it is very heavy on the prayer on the second half of this movie. Like I said, prior to the first hour, it wasn't very heavy on the prayer, and the second hour it is. So, do with that information what you will. It is a faith-based movie. Sometimes they're subtle, sometimes they're not. That's all. But what I thought, and as I had mentioned, it starts out as a sports-related faith-based movie, which I really like. That turns into a family kind of faith-based movie. It started to take a little bit of a turn there, as I mentioned, and I think they did a fantastic job of bringing it all together. Like, I had thought, okay, that side of the story was just to start this side of the story. The sports was to just start the family side, but it wasn't. It all works together when you watch the entire film. So, it's a lot. It's about a lot of different things. It's about motivation. It's about overcoming obstacles, of course, Overcomer, and it's about redemption and forgiveness and all those good things. But it's there's again, if you're used to watching these films, sometimes the acting is and sometimes the dialogue is but the reason we watch these is for the moral of the story, or what you're going to get out of it, and I think it's pretty good. I mean, they do such a good job of developing these stories, in that you want certain things to happen, or you're really pulling for different characters or different situations, and again they did that in this movie, and you feel a connection to them, and you want certain things to happen. So that's what I got from it. It's funny, at the first check-in I was going to say, there's two things that I was a little bit iffy on. I'll start with the second one first. So they're cross-country runners, right? So they're talking about putting in a rule about allowing earbuds in while they run. Okay, that's fair. But they start discussing it at the the final races, not at the beginning of the season. I'm like, that's a little over the top. But anyway, you'll see that in this movie. So I was like, okay, you got to do certain things to make the film work, right? And then the acting by our main character, or not by our main, Hannah Scott is the girl. She's a cross-country runner. And at first I was thinking to myself, this happens in these movies. You don't always get the best actors or actresses. But as I look at it more, and after I watch the entire film, I realize that maybe there are some spots where she hits and she's fantastic. And then I went back and I thought about it, and I thought to myself, you know, it's not that she was a poor actor. She was acting as a 15-year-old. And that's, you know what I mean? So you know how 15-year-olds are, you know, a little shy, a little reserved, you know, she was like a kid like that. You know, so I thought, and I'm sure she's older than 15 and she's playing something younger, so I think, you know, if I look at it that way, I think she did a pretty good job of acting, and I kind of changed my thought on it. So check that piece out when you watch it. Let me know what you thought. You know, did you connect with that aspect of it? It was like she wasn't really bad at acting. She was really acting like a 15-year-old and bringing, you know, realism to the role rather than, you know, where people go over the top on some acting. So, all right, that's it. That's all I got for you. Check it out if you like faith-based films, especially ones with sports and all the other things that I mentioned. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's worth watching. As you know, as long as you've heard everything I said. That's it. And if you do check it out, let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. Like my channel. I'll put a link in the description, because I'm sure this review has tempted you to go ahead and start watching it right now. You just go ahead and click, and you can start watching it. And then tell all your friends what a great channel Kimmel's Irish Pub is. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.